All right, welcome back. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to get started on your resume.
Yes.
So at this point, we figured that you have compiled information that you might want to put in your resume.
You have your job posting.
Yep, you have your job posting.
You've done your job skills exercise, so you've highlighted what skills you have that match that posting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have found all your education information, you have your work history handy, you know, the dates, right, all that information. So now you have a big question that you have to answer. What type of resume works best for this information that I have? And in general, there's three types. There's a functional resume, there's a chronological resume, and then there's what we call a hybrid, or just a blending of the functional and the chronological. So let's start with the functional.
All right. So functional resumes are great for entry-level professionals like yourselves. So these are people who have not had several jobs in the industry yet. So if this is your first time working in, the legal industry as a paralegal, previously you were maybe in customer service or you did something else. This is what you're going to want to do.
Okay, yeah, and it's great because even if you're not like entry level or this isn't the first job that you had, but you have a gap, right? Okay, so
And there's a lot of things that could cause this gap.
Oh, absolutely. You left the workforce to raise your family. So there's a gap in your and so the functional works.
You were in the military.
Right.
You went to school for 4 years.
Yeah, so there's many reasons why you might have these kinds of gaps, and so using the functional steers the attention away from those gaps. Where a chronological, because it's dates and the dates run in the margin, it becomes very obvious if there's a big gap. So.
Functional is saying I have the knowledge.
Right.
Let me show you how.
Its focus is much more on your qualifications and less on job history. All right, so then
lends us to our next one,
chronological,
yeah.
Right? So let's say that you've been working in the industry for a long time. You decided to come to Bryan and get your certification as a personal trainer, but prior to that, you were already working as a personal trainer. You were doing, you were training clients, you were working at a gym, and you've maintained that as you've gone through school. Then a chronological is perfect for you because it's going to show like the beginning and then kind of work up and show how you've improved and gotten more skills as you've gone along.
And the formatting is very traditional for this, so it's going to be an easy one for applicant tracking systems.
Right, very traditional for this. All right, so that brings us to the last one, the hybrid.
The combined, the blended, whatever you want to say.
Right. So this one gives you the benefit of both. The functional of highlighting your skills, but it has the chronological approaches. So who's this great for?
Well, it targets basically anyone who is applying for like a mid-level professional job would be really good for, or someone who has a little bit of experience but not a ton of experience.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So if you're one of those people who fall kind of in the middle, and a lot of us are.
And you can find great examples of all of these in your textbook and online. Okay, so look at them and make that decision before you sit down to write. Am I going with a functional, or am I going with a chronological, or is a blend of them the best for me? And that's a personal decision based on the information that you've compiled up to this point.
And make sure when you're doing these resumes that you're using industry terminology, words that people in your industry use. Talk their jargon.
Absolutely, because that tells the person who's looking to hire you that you're familiar, that you do have experience in the industry.
So who would be a good person to look this over? Maybe someone in your network who works in the industry?
Absolutely. Never forget that, getting a second, third, fourth, fifth, 17th opinion is a good idea. Get some input, and nobody says you have to sit down and do this all by yourself.
No, and there's more than one way to do a resume. We're not going to say this is the only format you can follow.
Right.
I mean, in your class we've included lots of examples, ones students have been successful with before, other great ones that we found that you thought would be helpful, but make it your own. Like, these aren't templates. The resume needs to be your own. You don't want to just follow the Microsoft Word template.
Right, and make sure that you're always addressing those minimum qualifications for the job posting.
Yes.
All right, so functional, chronological, hybrid.
Which
make
one
a
is for
decision.
you? Yeah. Next, cover letters.
Cover letters.